Hey y'all, it's Rick here with Uncommon Communion, coming to you a few minutes after midnight on Tuesday. I had said yesterday in the video that I was all ready to roll out my new written format today. Again, life happened, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that after we begin, as we always begin, by celebrating, recognizing, leaning into, affirming, and being grateful that we are always and everywhere in the holy presence of the more and each other. So, yes, I mentioned previously that my wife had rotator cuff surgery on Friday. That was day zero. Saturday was day one, Sunday, and Monday. So today she hit the wall and it was pretty ugly. We've had an issue since the beginning with her sling. Now, if you know anything about rotator cuff surgery, and maybe some of you out there have had it, it is very important that you do not put any weight on your arm and you do not lift your arm forward like this, right? Because the joint is healing. And the sling is kind of complicated, wraps around in multiple ways. It has this padding that kind of puts the arm at a certain angle. And quite frankly, when we left the hospital surgery center on Friday, it was not adjusted correctly. And I think I shared with you that Friday, when we got home, a lot of my wife's frustration, and this again is before the pain hit, was with the sling. And honestly, at that point, y'all, I regret not saying, "Hey, we need to go back to the surgery center. We need to go to another outlet or office of this large conglomerate that did her surgery for them to adjust this." And we didn't. And it makes sense that we didn't because she was pretty, unready to get back in the car and go elsewhere. Fast forward to today, she ordered a sling from Amazon. It looked like it was going to be a better option. It came today. It was difficult to get it on because it was just us and a couple of videos. And then I went upstairs to go to my meeting. She was already hurting from the sling. And I came back down an hour later and she was enraged and upset and really in a rough spot. And it was hard. It was very hard for me because I felt powerless. I felt unable to help her and to take away the pain. She was angry at me in various ways that I don't think were fully appropriate. And yet, there we were. And part of what made me delay here this evening is I waited to see what she needed from me, waiting for her to ask, and she didn't right away. And that kind of threw me off in my evening. It was interesting. I had a realization about something that my wife and I did not experience with our two children. You know, I am well aware, and maybe you had this experience of labor, unmedicated labor, where it is what natural, right? And just the wife or the mother screaming at whoever is there in the birthing room about the pain and the frustration and make this stop and all of that. Well, we have two children and we never experienced that because both of them were born by cesarean. The first one was unexpected, a bit of an almost a borderline emergency C-section. The second one was planned and very calm and just a very peaceful, serene birth experience. So we've never had, as a couple, a time when one of us was going through difficulty with pain and uncertainty and frustration and wanting something to end. And so that was kind of a new experience. And I think tomorrow we have a plan. She is going to go. I'm going to take her because she can't drive. And I'm going to take her to get that first sling, the original, the OG sling, fitted properly for her. And we'll see how it goes. And hopefully, Tuesday night, I'll be able to do some writing and unveil my new format. Well, one of the things I'm going to include in that new format is a quote that I am familiar with, and you're probably familiar with this too, but I heard it recently and then I actually read it just this evening in a slightly different context, but I think it's very apt for our times. And here it is. So this is Thomas Payne, and it's not from Common Sense, which is the more familiar and famous of his writings, but it was called American Crisis #1, and it was written in December of 1776. So again, consider that, Declaration of Independence was July of 1776, and this is really the point when the war was getting tough. There was some early successes and some difficult battles, but at this point, this is when it became real. And these are the words that Thomas Paine wrote. He says, "These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will in this crisis shrink from the service of their country. But he that stands it now deserves the love and thanks of men and women. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered. Yet we have this consolation with us, that the harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. What we obtain too cheap, we esteem too lightly. It is dearness only that gives everything its value." Whew, yeah, y'all. I personally felt that today, the times that try a man's soul. But in a much larger way, that's what we're facing right now as a nation. Literally, honestly, every day Trump is clearly more unhinged. And today he was talking about the Sedition Act, the Alien Sedition Act, which is the sort of little old thing in the Constitution, or in the I think it's in the Constitution or in the laws that allow a president to declare an insurrection and send military against U.S. citizens. And there is talk and reporting that he is getting closer to that. He's talking about it. It's clear he's thinking about it. He is getting closer to that. Meanwhile, on the Epstein, Trump, Maxwell files, Congress is still out. MAGA Mike Johnson is delaying still signing in, swearing in the new representative elected from Arizona that would make the final signature to demand the vote on releasing the Epstein, Trump, Maxwell files. Well, today, Ghislaine Maxwell, was denied a hearing by the Supreme Court, and she's toast as far as any sort of legal proceeding goes. But Trump is floating a pardon. Now, we knew this for a while, but he is floating that. And boy, he is so desperate, because he knows that she is the one who can destroy him outside of the Epstein files themselves. And it is just getting more and more intense every single day, y'all. The crisis is here. And again, so many are not paying attention. And it is accelerating. So it is with, again, as I've shared, it is tough. It is tough these days. But I have consolation. And the consolation is this. And I'll end with this prayer. It is a familiar source, one that I use many evenings. And this is from the centering prayer. And this was the prayer for yesterday, October 6th. And we'll make this our closing prayer. Eternal love, your truth lights the day and your way unfolds into love. Whatever dreams and difficulties the dark hours delivered, I am rising this morning to receive your eternal love. Words can't capture its velocity. Images can't contain its mass. Your love is infinite, immediately present, under, beyond, in, and through every sense, thought, and feeling I have about myself or another. Like the sunrise, you change everything. I lift my heart in praise. Remember, y'all, a few years ago talking about mourning in America? Well, it is the dark of night, and the beasts are out. The authoritarian, the fascists, the beasts are out. But this prayer reminds us that God is here, God is now, strengthening us in what we need to do. I told a friend today, a good friend in recovery, that it's not about politics anymore, y'all. It's about love versus cruelty. It's about calming versus chaos, and it's about a lot. And prayers like this, hopefully reflections like this, times like this, demand courage and demand strength, and that's what we get from each other and from our connection with the more. All right, y'all, I need more sleep, and that's what I'm going to get right now, because tomorrow will bring who knows what. Thank you for listening, for watching. Please share this with others. Blessing and good. Be bold. Be well.